We are going to look at the 3.4b, where we are looking at imaginary roots now. So remember the conjugate pairs, like this. They have A is our real part, and B is the imaginary. BI actually is imaginary. And together, A plus BI, A minus BI is a complex number. So the conjugates, the only thing that is different is the sign. A plus BI or A minus BI, so we have conjugates to each other. So if we have 3i, the conjugate would be negative 3i. If we have 7i, negative 7i, it'd be 7i. If we have 2 minus I, it'd be 2 plus I. If we have negative 3 plus 5i, it'd be negative 3 minus 5i. So A plus BI is a zero of the function, then A minus BI is also a zero, because they are complex conjugates. So if we have x plus 3i is a zero, then we would also say that x minus 3i is a zero. So we are going to find a polynomial function with real coefficients that have the given zeros. So negative 1, but it's a double zero, so it's going to be plus 1 and x plus 1. And then 3i is only listed once, but we know we have to also include the complex conjugate. So we put x plus 3i and x minus 3i. Okay, so this is the factored form. We want to do the expanded form where we actually multiply all of our binomials. So this would be x squared plus 1x would be plus 2x plus 1. And then this one's very similar. X squared minus 3ix plus 3ix minus 9i squared. Okay, these are going to cancel each other out because that's 0. Negative 3i plus 3i is 0. So now we have x squared plus 2x plus 1. And then also remember that I squared equals negative 1. So this is going to be negative 9 times negative 1, which we can change that to positive 9. So our second factor, once we multiply things out, is going to be x squared plus 9. Okay, so now we have a trinomial multiplied by a binomial. So this is where we do the box and multiply them out. X squared plus 2x plus 1 and x squared plus 9. So x to the 4, 2x squared, no, cubed, x squared, 9x squared, 18x, and 1. Normally we would add diagonals, but since these weren't the exact same order with exponents and everything, we just have to, do kind of like a treasure hunt. So f of x equals x to the 4. And then we only have 1 cubed, which is 2x to the 3rd. And then 9x squared and 10x squared, or 9x squared and 1x squared make 10x squared. And then plus the 18x. Oh, plus 9. There we go. Okay, let's go to the next one. We have zeros of 2, so x minus 2. X plus 2. So that covers these zeros. And then x minus 7i and x plus 7i. so we'll do binomials, binomial times binomial, so x squared minus 2x plus 2x is going to cancel out, and we just have negative 2 times positive 2, which is minus 4. And then this. So remember how our middle terms canceled? So we're going to have x squared, and then we have, I'm going to write up here, 49i squared. I squared is negative 1, so it's going to be plus 49. Okay, so now we can FOIL. So x to the 4th, and then we have plus 49x squared minus 4x squared minus 196. I guess I didn't have to do these middle terms. I could have done them before, but I did. So that would be 45x squared minus 196. F of x equals, or y equals, they mean the same thing. Okay, let's go to the next page. All right, so now we're given the function and we're given one of the zeros, which really we're given both of them because we know the conjugate. So we know that x minus 4i and x plus 4i are the zeros. We have to find the rest of the zeros. And so there are 3 of them. So we have 2 of them. We need to find the third one. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as a way of dividing here in a minute. So first thing I want to do is simplify this by going ahead and expanding it out. Remember the negative 4i, x, and positive 4, or they're going to cancel. And then I have negative 16i squared, which comes out to plus 16. We did all that work. If you need to see it expanded out, you can work that out. Let's see. Now what we need to do is we need to take the function and divide by this to find the next zero. So I'm going to put, and I can't do synthetic because we have x squared plus 16. If we had x plus 16, I could do that, but we don't. So here we go. Okay, so I need to do a 3x. So 3x times x squared is 3x cubed. And then 3x times 16 is 48x. But I need to put that underneath the x term. Now subtract. Well, since there was nothing here, I could have put x, 0x squared, which we would just carry this down. Those cancel. We get a 0x, right? Now we're left with minus 32. All right, so then I need to multiply x squared times what to get negative 2x squared? It'd be at negative 2. So it'd be negative 2x squared, and then minus 32. There was nothing there. Those cancel. Those cancel. I get a remainder of 0 because everything is canceled now. So 3x minus 2 is a 0. So I want to find out what that 0 is. So 3x equals 2 divided by 3. So x equals 2/3. So all of our zeros are 4i, negative 4i, and 2/3. Okay, one last question. We're given a function. This is one of the zeros. We need to find the other 0. So if 5 plus 2i is a 0, then we would also have 5 minus 2i is a 0. So we want to divide our function by our 0 to find the other function, or because this is cubed, so there's going to be 3 zeros. But I need to go ahead and simplify this. 5 plus 2i, 5 minus 2i. So we have, oh, I didn't write this correctly. So let me erase that. This should be x minus that, right? And then x plus the 0, because the other 0 is the minus. There we go. So let's see. I am going to still feel like we're missing something here. Let's see. This is what we're missing. And the reason is because if I have, like, whenever I had the 4i, I had to get the conjugate, but then I put x minus the opposite of it, and then x plus the opposite of it. Okay, so it's like this. Because they should both be x minus the 0, right? All right, so now I'm going to do some rearranging. I am going to change this to x minus 5 and then plus 2i. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, x minus 5 and minus 2i, like that. Okay, so now I'll FOIL. So we're going to do x minus 5 times x minus 5. I'm not going to expand that yet. I'm just going to do this. And then we can do this minus 2i x minus 5. I'm going to do this plus 2i x minus 5. And then my last term, negative 4i squared. Okay, these middle terms are going to cancel because they're the same thing, just minus 2i and plus 2i, so those cancel. I'm going to go ahead and find out what this is. That's x squared minus 10x plus 25. And then this becomes negative 4 times negative 1, because I squared is negative 1, which is 4, so plus 4. So then x squared minus 10x plus 29. Okay, so now that I found out what this was, now I can divide. So I'm going to come over here, and inside or outside I'm going to put x squared minus 10x plus 29. And then I have x cubed minus 7x squared minus x plus 87. Okay, so this is going to have to be x cubed minus 10x squared plus 29x. Okay, now we subtract, so that means I change all my signs. Those cancel. I get 3x squared minus 30x plus 87. So that means this needs to be a 3. So plus 3. 3 times x squared is 3x squared. 3 times negative 10 is negative 30x. 3 times 29 is positive 87. Now we subtract. Everything cancels, so I have a 0 remainder. So x plus 3 is a 0. So that means x equals, we have the 5 plus 2i, 5 minus 2i, and negative 3. I guess I don't need parentheses on that last one. because it's just a constant. So those are our zeros. All right,